Welcome to our community. Happy Groundhog Day. Susie Thomas here with you this morning, visiting with Charla Elton, who is superintendent of Heritage Christian School. I wanted to make sure I had your title right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Charla, you're awfully young to be a superintendent of schools. Tell me a little bit about you and your background.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I have enjoyed being a part of this community for my whole career. So I attended the University of Akron and received both my finance degree there as well as my MBA, and then went on as well to get my certified management accountant degree. That's a certification, not a degree. Worked in the nonprofit sector for about 13 years and started on the Board of Education at Heritage Christian School. And as it tends to do, Heritage just really captured my heart. And it wasn't long before I just started to hear that voice saying, okay, Charla, I think you're going to be moving over to Heritage. So I've been there almost 2 years now, and it's been a great blessing. And it's, in a way, kind of like returning home because I actually attended kindergarten at Heritage Christian School.
That's too fun. That really is full circle, isn't it? But having not gone the education route, what's been surprising for you in your role there overseeing education?
Well, I think several things have been surprising, most notably to follow the education trends. Right now we're in a great time of discussion, a great time of change, but also a great time of really people pursuing the best academic practices. And it's so exciting to be a part of that sector right now. And also a lot of the other pieces, God prepares you through your journey. So a lot of the pieces and the tools that you put into your toolbox, you can see then later, whenever you're ready to use those tools, how they can come out, even in perhaps a different sector than what you had worked in previously.
Let's talk about some of the trends. What is going on in education right now? I know not in Christian schools, Common Core is the big talk, but you are not following Common Core, correct?
That's correct. Right now, we have really a hybrid model. We are really focusing on both growth, student growth, but also proficiency. And so we are actively transitioning over to the classical Christian approach to education. And this is different from what a lot of others are doing right now. It's different because although it prepares students very well to be able to take tests, because that's important that we understand how to be tested, it's not a model designed to just, to help children take tests. So basically, it really goes back to the basics, even before the Industrial Revolution, about how to teach children well, how to teach them according to their developmental age, and also how to help them to learn from the great scholars, philosophers, the great and diverse thinkers of all time, and to really learn how to then put that into practice in their own lives. So, for example, in our School of Pre-Grammar, that is our preschool, a lot of songs, a lot of memorization, and that carries into elementary school, which we call the School of Grammar. And that's really what children love at that age. And they're always asking why. And they want to know facts and information. And so it helps to fulfill that need. Then as the student gets up into kind of the middle school ages, which we call the School of Logic, then that's really where they want to kind of argue and debate. And so we work to teach them how to form an opinion, how to, go ahead and discuss that opinion in a professional way, kind of how to debate and do it well. And then finally, in the high school ages, the School of Rhetoric, it's really about self-expression and how do you present yourself well, verbally, being able to make a presentation, being able to really formalize your thoughts, perhaps in writing, and just to be able to be an excellent communicator, some of those soft skills that we really need in today's world.
I love that you are looking at phases of growing up that can go either way. They can drive you crazy. That debating time, the questioning why, the self-expression time can go either way and really be a thorn in a parent's side, or you can look at it as a way of learning. This is what the learning is right now. This is what they are absorbing right now, and it's all part of a development of a whole human being. That is a completely different way of looking at stages or phases that we go through. Is that all written out in the classical Christian approach, or did you just come up with that?
Oh, no. I wish I could take credit for it, but I cannot. That is, those are really the keys of the classical Christian approach. And we are just so excited to be implementing that model at the school. And we are just at the very beginning of it. And so we're starting with our lower ages because obviously, these are building blocks that we'd like to stack upon. And so we are starting with the youngest ages, and then we'll be transitioning over the next several years. And it's, very exciting. It's a lot of preparation time right now for the school and for the teachers, and even what does this mean for our school body and our culture to prepare for this more, in many ways, rigorous approach. Mm-hmm. But yet we truly believe that every single child is able to excel. And we believe that if we stretch them a little bit, they do indeed grow, and they can do so much more than we sometimes believe or think that they can. And so it's exciting to stretch their little minds and also to help them to really prepare to present themselves well, defend their faith in this day and age.
The climate in a school can be very different than the climate in a home. Mm-hmm. And particularly if you are located in the inner city, the heart of the inner city, mm-hmm. how do you navigate that?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because we do try to prepare our parents and our student body that we do have a very diverse student body. And to us, that is the best thing because mm-hmm. we believe in this day and age, when we go into the workforce, when we go into higher education, when we go into the world, even for missions, we're going to encounter people who are different than us. And one of the things that I really like about our student body is that it brings people together perhaps in a way that they wouldn't have otherwise. Sometimes in a larger school, you may have a group of people very similar to yourself, and you may choose to spend the time with them. And in our school, because we have a closer-knit family environment, you really get to know students who may come from completely different backgrounds than you do. Mm-hmm. And it's a great opportunity to learn how we're all common and also to appreciate those differences.
And you see great friendships developing.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Many of our alumni will remain friends, and even now, in fact, we're seeing our alumni bringing back their children and even still talking about those friendships. So it's a great thing, and I think it takes a little bit of time to get used to sometimes, but it's worth it.
Class size is what at mm-hmm. Heritage?
The average class size is actually fewer than 15 students per teacher. Now, we are in a time of growth. So over the past 5 years, we've grown 50% in student enrollment. Last year, we did have a waiting list in a couple of areas. Now, we intentionally keep our class sizes smaller, and we really do that based on the age. So younger students will have a smaller class size, and then that class size can go up by a couple of students as they grow. And so it's a great time to be a part of Heritage and what's happening there.
One thing that you've done so well is take advantage of school choice mm-hmm. and school choice vouchers and so forth. Talk about that. How does that work?
Absolutely. I think it's one of the greatest blessings of our time that people have options. I think we all want options, whether we are going to the grocery store or just selecting something that's a good fit for our family. And so how much more so with the education of our child. And so school choice has given a lot of different options to families. So for example, one option is based on your address, simply based where you live. Another option is based on your income. So it doesn't matter where you live. It's purely based on income. In addition, Heritage also has tuition assistance funds. So even if you don't qualify for some of the other programs, we can supplement with tuition assistance. Now, the key with these programs, the real key is that you apply within the deadlines. Mm-hmm. So the state issues deadlines, so it's the same for every school, on when you need to complete the paperwork, when you need to go through the enrollment process. And so that time is now. We are, that window is open, and so now we're excited to start that process.
And who should be looking at this? What families, can you describe a family that this might be a really good road, a good path for them?
Absolutely. Certainly, if you live within some of the districts, for example, Canton City has a couple of specific schools that qualify. So that might be worth a call if you're interested. You can call the school office and ask, and we can very easily tell you if you live in one of those specific districts where you would qualify for a scholarship. Or like I say, if you have an income that's a moderate income, you may go ahead and call the school, and they have the exact amounts for your family size. So it is relatively easy for you to identify if you would be a good candidate for the income-based scholarship. And I would tell folks, even if you think, well, maybe my income is a little bit too high, or maybe it's just moderate, it's not, as low, I would tell you to call the office anyway and find out those details, because you may very well qualify.
Not only the students become friends for life, the parents become friends for life. I'm thinking if you sit side by side at basketball games for all those years and then go out for meals afterwards, you become lifelong friends. And there is a sense of real family when you walk into those hallways, isn't there? Can you talk about just the climate of Heritage Christian?
Absolutely. We talk about that we are a family often, and perhaps that's used too often by others in the community. Everybody can say, we have a church family or our own families. However, we really try to be there for the students, be there for the families that seek Heritage Christian School as their educational partner. And I think it starts with the staff. We have a great staff. We have really worked hard to make sure that their heart is in it, that their heart is in their work, because really when we're caring for children and other families' children, we really need to make sure that we are all there for the same reasons. And so setting that vision, casting why we're here, why we're doing the work for the Lord, why we are really investing this time, although sometimes difficult work, it's equally fulfilling. And I think that causes a real family unity to join. We also have devotions together as a staff a couple of times a week. We pray together often. We have chapel once a week for the students, different chapels based on their age. And that really becomes a time of worshiping together and building those relationships.
You have great family support as far as parent groups and parent volunteer groups. I know back in the day there was Friends of Heritage. Is there still Friends of Heritage?
There is. Friends of Heritage is actually combining into a parent-teacher organization, a typical PTO, since that name is a bit more common now. Mm-hmm. And we are so thankful for our parents. For example, on February 11th, we have an auction, and that is pulled together and really brought together by our parents and our Board of Education. And we're so thankful for our volunteers.
And they have fun, but there's a lot of work involved, isn't it? Yeah. And do you get good response as far as the parents that are participating? We used to have work days. I can remember scrubbing floors and things. Do work days still exist at Heritage?
We do. We have 1 to 2 work days every year. It really helps us to get our building into shape. It is a trend right now with our culture that so many people are very busy and might be working 1 job, 2 jobs, might be going to school, taking care of the students and their needs and extracurriculars. And so parent involvement is something that we're still seeking. And in fact, even community volunteerism. Maybe somebody doesn't have that same demanding schedule in their life any longer. And so if they'd like to come and volunteer, it can be everything from our workday, if you enjoy helping us get our facilities up to snuff, or even reading to students and partnering with them in other ways.
We should say where you're located so they know what they're signing up for, what building they are getting up to snuff.
Absolutely. We are located at 2107 6th Street Southwest, right here in Canton, Ohio.
And it's the old Lincoln High School.
It is, yes. It's on the corner there of Harrison and 6th. So drive by and check us out for sure, or better yet, come on in.
Which just makes you have the coolest classrooms, the best theater. The old-fashioned kind of theater, and it just feels like you're in a school. I love it. All right, we need to take a break. We are visiting with Charlotte Elton from Heritage Christian School. We'll be back after these words. You're listening to Our Community.